large figure that Labour has put on that extra 2,000. How much is that, and where would that money come from?
Well, what we've said is we would find the money to recruit the 10,000 police people by cutting the... We would find the money because we'd look at capital gains tax. The Tories have cut capital gains tax and we want to restore it. And that would give us, I think, 170... We would find the money by restoring levels of capital gains.
Before, don't want to dwell on that, to send your son to a private school, you said, quote, West Indian mums will go to the wall for their children. So black mothers love their kids more than white?
Andrew, we've just had, I think, one of the most important budgets in a generation. I've said everything I'm going to say about where I sent my son to school.
No, I'm not. That's what I want to. I don't understand this quote. No. Supposing Michael had said, white mums will go to the wall for their children.
Andrew, I've got nothing new to say.
Why would you say that West Indian mums will go to the wall for their children?
Andrew.
I mean, isn't that a racist remark?
Andrew, I've got nothing new to say. Let's talk about the most important budget in a lifetime.
I'm talking about what you've said. If West Indian mums are as wonderful as you say, why are there so many dysfunctional West Indian families in this country, and so many West Indian young men end up in a life of crime and gangs?
I actually run an awards programme and have done for many years for London's top achieving black children. And actually, Andrew, there's lots of black boys out there working hard and doing extremely well.
Clearly not enough of them for you to send your kid to the local school.
This is going around.
I mean, you didn't want them to go to a school full of kids that had been brought up by West Indian mums.
No, actually, under a Labour government, because this all happened 9 years ago, now, it's in that time, Labour's built 5 new secondary schools in Hackney, and I wouldn't have to make the same decision.
Would you like to make it clear that, in the round, in general, West Indian mums are no better or no worse than white mums and Anglo-Asian mums and so on?
Andrew, I've got nothing more to say.
You don't want to make that clear?
Andrew, I've got nothing more to say.
So you still think West Indian mums
I've got nothing
are the best?
More to say.
Okay.
Absolutely bizarre. I mean, when a royal prince dressed in an SS uniform, he was absolutely, condemned. Had he worn a Mao outfit, nobody would have blinked.
Why is that? Why is it right to wear a Maoist T-shirt, but obviously wrong, as it is, to wear a Hitler T-shirt?
I suppose some people will judge that on balance, Mao did more good than harm. You can't say that about the Nazis.
What was the good bit? Remind me what the good bit was.
Serious,
well, it's funny, I just had this debate with my son.
I wish this were in prime time.
Well, I just had this debate with my son.
Still like all these old lefty dictators. Mao killed tens of millions of people.
Yeah, just tell me, what was the good that he did that made up for the 60 million people he murdered?
He led his country from feudalism, he helped to defeat the Japanese, and he left his country on the verge...
He could have beaten the Japanese too.
No, well, and he left his country on the verge of the, the great economic success they're having now.
We've always had to deal with dictators. I mean, don't forget that we dealt with and became the biggest ally of the greatest dictator of them all, Stalin. And we did that to beat a greater evil threat to us at the time, which was Nazi Germany.
That's perfectly true.
Churchill knew that after we'd beaten Hitler, Stalin would become the threat. Roosevelt didn't.
All that's true, although let's just say to Dianne that you call Stalin the greatest ever dictator. In terms of mass murder, he isn't on the same page as Mao that Dianne apparently
Well, I
thought.
was just putting the case for Mao.
Yeah,
but
but like Mao, he did lead his people from feudalism.
Anyway, those who had not been murdered were led from feudalism.
Yes, those who survived the pogroms.
The money will come from reversing some of the tax cuts to the rich that the Tories have pushed through. And the tax cut we're specifically identifying to pay for the 10,000 policemen is the cuts in capital gains tax.
Policemen, so we can't have police women then?
Policemen and women.
Oh, that's all right, just checking.
Yeah, right. So the
Strange it falls to me to correct you, Dianne, but do go on.
Yeah, well, let's talk about
the real issues about crime which people are worried about. And what people are worried about is the rise in violent crime. We've seen in the Met, for instance, gun crime go up by 42% and knife crime go up by 24%. And we believe that more community policemen and women are part of the answer to this.
So how much would 10,000 police officers cost?
Well, if we recruit the 10,000 police men and women over a 4-year period, we believe it'll be about £300,000.
£300,000 for
Sorry,
10,000 police officers? What are you paying them?
No, I mean, sorry.
How much will they cost?
They will cost... It will cost about £80 million.
About £80 million?
Yeah.
Right. How do you get to that figure?
We get to that figure because we anticipate recruiting 25,000 extra police officers a year at least over a period of 4 years. And we're looking at both what average police wages are generally, but also specifically police wages in London.
And this will be funded by the reversing, in some instances, I think, the cuts to capital gains tax. But I'm right in saying that since Jeremy Corbyn became leader of the party, that money has also been promised to reverse spending cuts in education, spending cuts in arts, spending cuts in sports. The Conservatives would say you spent this money already, Dianne Abbott.
Well, the Conservatives would say that. We've not promised the money to any area. We've just pointed out that the cuts in capital gains tax will cost the taxpayer over £2 billion, and there are better ways of spending that money. But as we roll out our manifesto process, we are specifically saying how we will fund specific proposals. And this morning I'm saying to you that we will fund the 10,000 extra police officers by using some, not all, but just some of the over £2 billion.
The 80 million is the figure we use.
Yeah.
But if you, I don't understand. If you divide 80 million by 10,000, you get 8,000. Is that what you're going to pay these policemen and women?
No, we're talking about a process over 4 years.
I don't understand. What is he or she getting? 80 million divided by 10,000 equals 8,000. So what are these police officers going to be paid?
We will be paying them the average...
Has this been thought through?
Of course it's been thought through.
Where are the figures?
The figures are that the additional cost in year one, when we anticipate recruiting about 250,000 policemen, will be 64.3 million.
250,000 policemen?
And women.
So you're getting more than 10,000. You're recruiting 250,000.
No, we are recruiting 2,000 and perhaps 250. And the cost...
So where did 250,000 come from?
I think you said that, not me.
No, I can assure you said that figure because I wrote it down.
What I'm saying about the costs is in year one, obviously, we're getting ready to recruit.
Right.
But in year two, the cost will be 64.3 million. In year three, the cost will be 139.1 million. Right. Year four, the cost will be 217 million. And year five, the cost will be 298 million. And that can be amply covered by reversing the cuts in capital gains tax.
And lastly, you will, I'm sure, be very close to police officers, as I am sometimes, and there are concerns within cities such as London that the dilution of stop and search by the Prime Minister, when she was Home Secretary, Theresa May, has in some way perhaps contributed to a 24% increase in knife crime in London. Where do you stand on stop and search, Dianne Abbott?
I support evidence-based stop and search, but we know in the past only a tiny fraction of stop and search revealed actual crime, mostly people carrying drugs for personal use. And the reason for the rise in knife crime are very complex. They're to do with young people sadly thinking they need it for self-defence and so on. But we believe that a rise in community policing and community policemen and women engaging in outreach with the community is part of the solution to the rise in knife crime and gun crime.
So would you authorise increased stop? Because there is a body of thought within policing, as I'm sure you're aware as Shadow Home Secretary, that actually we need more properly executed, carefully delivered, respectfully done stop and search. Where do you stand on that?
We need more evidence-based stop and
But
search.
you can't always have evidence, Dianne. You know that as well as I do. Sometimes, I mean, they caught the Yorkshire Ripper through a bit of a lucky one, as you'll be aware. You don't always necessarily have that evidence, do you?
We believe in more evidence-based stop and search. And what we've found in London is that although levels of stop and search have gone down, levels of convictions related to stop and search has gone up.
Yeah, but knife crime has too, Dianne Abbott.
Yes, but there are complicated reasons for knife crime. I'll come back on your programme and talk about the rise in knife crime on another occasion.
Sure.
But community policing has a big role to play in fighting knife crime and gun crime.
And lastly, the headline is 10,000 more police officers, which is very exciting, but does that necessarily mean that they'll be good? That is to say, if Ford were to employ 10,000 extra people in building their cars, it doesn't mean they make better cars, of course.
Well, you need to say that to the Police Federation. The Police Federation has said that austerity is calling real issues, police forces are struggling to cope, and of course we need more policemen. You need to say to the Police Federation
and
if you
police
think...
women, Dianne. You've got a real problem with this, you know. You've got to get into the modern day, Dianne. You keep saying policemen. We have police officers.
And you, Nick, need to talk seriously about crime.
I do. I talk about it every single day, I assure you, Shadow Home Secretary, and I've enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Evening all, welcome to this weekend. We finally made it, folks. After years of running battles with BBC Yentobs, this week has been able to complete the greatest of exits, moving from our hovel in Millbank to take over the One Show studio. We promised you that Thexit would be a success, and look around. It has. New cameras, new sofas, new studio, new everything. And our red, white and purple cake has a cherry on top. And all it cost us was 100 quid. Or was it £1 billion? Or 40 billion? Maybe 300,000 over 4 years. Where's Dianne Abbott when you need her?